Okay, let's,
Oh, yeah?
call committee of the whole meeting to order at 6:52 on January the 9th, 2017. First on the agenda is 1.1, Christmas and garbage pickup.
I was actually the one that brought this forward because of the amount of complaints we had over the holiday. Just the way it works out at Christmas, and it could happen when it's Easter holiday. It's almost 11 days in between a garbage pickup. We pick up garbage once a week. So in that 11-day stint, anything over 11 days, I'm requesting that we permit people to double up on the amount of garbage they're permitted. Because right now, it's like, nope, sorry, you still have to have 2 bags on your garbage pickup, and I don't believe that's right. I think by allowing anybody beyond the 11 days, and we picked that for a certain reason, is when we did the math with it, it's only gonna happen maybe once a year, maybe twice, mostly once, and it's not gonna happen all the time. What the problem is there's so many staff holidays during the Christmas season, keeps pushing the days back. And especially after Christmas, to go 11 days without having your garbage picked up and have only 2 bags, I don't believe that's necessarily correct. So I'm asking for that to have 4.
So if, basically how it works is if you're on a Friday pickup,
Yeah.
when the holiday falls, and then you move to the Monday, so, okay, I get it, yeah.
Yeah,
So you
and then
move
it goes so many days in between that this holiday, I think there was people that went beyond 11 days
Yeah.
without having their garbage picked up.
We had our garbage picked up on the 23rd, and then we didn't have our garbage picked up again until this past Tuesday.
It appears as though it ends up being like almost, they get into what they think is a third week, and then that
Yeah.
just gets you spinning.
And then to only have the two garbage bag limit, that's where I'm asking, let's give a little bit of slack and permit them to have the 4 bags, because it's been almost 2 weeks.
We should just vote. Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's an awesome idea.
Okay,
Let's
Okay.
get going to the next agenda item. 4 bags.
thank you.
Okay, wait, so is everybody in favor of that?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
The only question I have is, it's one of those things you write in the bylaw, and then the bylaw gets filed away, and so we have to be sure that we know which ones are getting what, because it's not across the board, it's just for certain.
Yeah,
Rather
it'll
than
be,
for
it'll be
everybody.
anybody on that garbage day. Like this year was garbage day 3, and I think next year it'll be garbage day 4, if even possible.
There was a couple of
Yeah.
garbage days.
The other problem with this year is it's proximity to a weekend, because when,
The weekend, and plus there was 3 staff holidays in there.
right.
That was the biggest
Sure,
problem.
the Christmas.
We had Christmas, like the Boxing Day, then we had New Year's, and it's all within that week cycle, so it automatically pushes you back several days.
Let's make sure we let
Do it.
everybody know about it as it arrives.
You got it.
Yeah, just one other dumb question, how do those people know that on that one, they're supposed to put out all the extra garbage they wish? And then, what do you do if the wrong day puts out a bunch of garbage and expects it to get picked up, and it's not tagged?
It's their garbage.
It's their garbage
It's only
day.
gonna happen on
Yeah.
one garbage day cycle. And all those people,
It'll be
in this case, day 3, the day 3ers are gonna know, hey, nobody's been around and we're in the 3rd week.
It'll be advertised too, like
Yeah.
on the Facebook page, on the website, in
You'll
the
let people know.
newspaper, it'll say like this garbage, because of the whatever, that if you're on this garbage day because you go so long, you're allowed. And then it would just be like if like the spring cleanup or something, right? If somebody doesn't pay attention and they put their spring cleanup stuff out the wrong week, you don't send the employees back to pick it up for them because they didn't do their due
And it's
diligence.
just those people affected on that garbage day like that. It's not gonna be everybody after Christmas getting 4 days. Just those people that lost their pickup for that long.
Okay?
Yeah.
Good. All right, then, we will move along to 3.1, variation and conditional use process.
So basically, it's come up in the past to make sure that before any variations or conditional uses come to the table, that we ensure that all departments get a look at it to bring any concerns they may have. This is a good idea, but this is also a very time-consuming, task on staff. So in looking at that, Jen went and reviewed a lot of the charges, and we are significantly lower in our fees than what other communities are. The amount of work involved and the postage and everything in a variation or conditional use is phenomenal, so we're asking to increase it at least from 125 to 250.
I don't know if this is the right place to put it in, but can we like mandate people to show up when we have like a hearing for conditional use or?
That's on the draft application.
That they have to
Yeah.
show up?
The applicant has to be
We'll just
present
put it
at the
off
public
until they
hearing.
show up.
Yep.
If not in attendance, council will not proceed with the public hearing. It's right on the application form, on
So
the draft application.
when we have hearings and people don't show up, technically we shouldn't even have the hearing, is what you're saying?
That's what we're gonna.
You're saying you don't
put it
have to hear it.
We'll put it off and have it when someone decides it's important.
I guess in the most cases, we don't have questions, but just sometimes if we do have questions, it can be frustrating because then it delays our process.
Yep.
Everybody feel okay with the draft proposal that we looked at? We all had a chance to read?
Yeah, Red.
Okay. Counselor Zelinski.
Well, just if are we talking about the charges, the fees right now associated with it?
Yeah.
The application and the fee.
Okay, so like I look and like we're half of the cheapest one and we wanna move it from 125 to 250. Like when was the last time that we looked at these fees?
A
Like,
couple years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't. that-
oh really? And it just
Yeah.
wasn't, okay, but, well, I was just gonna say if we're moving it up, we might as well move it up.
I think for us, we're adding an extra step, which could take a little more time for all of us. Because rather than before, we would have the quick question and like Jen or I would call up to engineering if it affected their department. But now we're gonna give them the whole application and we want their
Them to
comments on it, and
stamp
send it
on.
back to us.
Okay, we're all good?
Yeah.
Excellent. 3.2, conditional use application 06-2016.
So this was the hearing we had tonight. Just to let you know, this exact sign was approved in the past. And it was on the old, I think, what people that have been here call the Husky's Confectionery.
Yeah.
So it's the exact same sign, they're just moving it over.
Just in terms of paperwork, you have that down as 202 Fisher, if that can get changed to Edwards. Because it's not on Fisher, they're moving it from Edwards to Fisher. I think you have it down as 202.
It's on
On
202
202.
Edwards right now, it's going to
If
456
you
Fisher.
go up here,
And
202
I'm gonna
Fisher.
have an office at 202 Fisher, I'm gonna install it there. apply
They don't
for
have an
ambulance.
office at 202 Fisher.
They did.
They did.
That was where
No,
Husky's.
they did
That's
202
where
Edwards.
Husky's-
Husky is on Edwards.
Right.
That's where they're
That's
at.
where they
They're
were.
not Fisher.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
They're
Oh,
moving it
it's-
to 456 Fisher, they've
Yeah.
never been at 202 Fisher. If there is a 202 Fisher, that would be the new Hawaiian.
This should have been Edwards, that's what he's
That's
saying.
just-
It would be.
Just to
Yeah, just-
clarify,
Oh, okay.
no big deal. Does anybody have a problem with that sign getting moved? I don't.
No.
Okay, 4.1.
So
Sam-
resolution to approve?
Yes, yes. Sam Waller Museum, 4.1.
This is basically in accordance with the bylaws and policies. We require a resolution to appoint board members. This is a very productive board. They're looking at reappointing Michael Wyman, Faye Kabelka, Don Johansson, Pandora Furnace to the Samoa Museum Board. So we would require a resolution of council.
I think that's a good and
Yes.
wonderful thing.
Oh, yes, we need them all.
All right,
Can you call it?
yep, let's have a resolution then to appoint them. 4.2, demolition tender T152016.
This was to give us, we were looking at possibly including this in the budget this year, if permitted. This is with respect to the removal of the buildings known as Claire Simpson's buildings out at the airport. We had a couple of different bids here. We had an alternate bid, which included burning the rubble on site. The only problem is we still can get a responsible burning it at the location. It is significantly less if they can haul it to a certain area and burn it. I'm just thinking you would probably have to do that in the middle of the night so that you're not affecting any kind of flights. But we still haven't received a response back. Are we proceeding with this? It's either gonna be $26,250 or $31,500.
I thought we couldn't burn it because of the hydro lines, which is why the
That's why they
firefighters-
wanna demolish it and move it away from the hydro line and then burn it there. So it says it's about $5,000 to burn on site.
How critically important is that building disappear in the next 12 months?
Get rid of it. It's like crap, it's just gonna be a liability. Just like the fish shack or whatever, like,
That'll be 12 months, and we'll go, oh, onwards, and then we'll wait another 12 months, right?
Well,
It's
12
like-
months from now, that lowest tender will come in at $37,000.
Right. It's
Yeah,
not gonna
just-
get any cheaper, to get rid of it. It's like having an empty building downtown, tear it down, you're better off with an empty lot, and have them looking at junk.
Okay.
Right, so, that's my.
Yeah, anybody else? Okay, so you're gonna try and figure a way to get this done at 26,250?
Yeah, if we can't do the burning on site, or if it has any effect whatsoever on air control, then I say we go with the next lowest bid, which would be PB Industries.
Okay. Everybody okay with that? Oh,
Yeah,
Sorry, I was just gonna, not to belabor the point, did we ask for an alternate? Like, did we ask for it to
Yeah.
be demolished and hauled? We did
Yeah.
ask for the alternate
Yeah, we
proposal?
talked to the guys and said if there's something that you wanna do differently, let us know.
Yeah, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, the only other thing with burning is making sure any environmental issues aren't triggered.
Well, my biggest concern is that there's probably asbestos in that building. Wow, I'm just
See,
gonna
and they
say,
went in there.
did they do the testing?
I understand through Al that they looked through it.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. Maybe it's old,
Check
yeah, maybe it's old enough that it's wood shavings, I don't know, but
okay.
burn really good.
We're done that. 4.3, caveat withdrawal.
So, this is basically, we've just been selling a lot of Hebron properties through tax sale in the last 2 years here. Basically, when we sold Braun the property, we put a caveat on it that was conditioned on, you have to build in such and such a time limit, that it reverts back to the town of the Paw. I don't believe this is something that we can be putting on new owners, otherwise you're never gonna get anywhere. So, we're asking for the withdrawal of that caveat on the properties that were sold through tax sale. And I think we just take them all off at one shot. Just to
Not cost
give
of
you,
gold enough. Anything?
we asked the applicant to do it.
So-
Line of work, we're looking at just removing all of them?
Yep.
So
So
they
that would be our
wouldn't,
cost,
they
right?
wouldn't have like a development agreement at all?
Nope. And they really can't. The development agreement, if you look at the one that we had with Braun, it gave timelines and that this is what you had to build, and it was based on his proposal. I don't know if council is prepared to expect that from the next person, because it's almost impossible unless they purchase all the lots.
Personally, I want nothing moving forward having to do with anything that had anything to do with Braun.
The tax sale of Braun property, was it bought by a single?
Nope, it was
Or
by
was it,
individuals.
it
who
was
a couple
split,
different
okay,
ones.
so that whole thing, if there's a big package sitting out there with no controls on it, doesn't exist.
Yeah. The only thing I might consider as a partial discharge is to leave that they supply their own access to the lots. Because part of the development agreement with Braun was to provide inroads, and I don't think the town should be responsible for that right now. It's not a development we want to get into, and I think that's something we should consider, is maybe even a partial, or to replace the agreement on it.
Sorry, I just, so with the lots, where are they? They're,
Right there.
right up- yeah, we can't, okay, so.
They got the big skull and crossbones on.
So they,
So here, this is, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but I believe we're talking about.
No, up high to the right.
Here?
No.
Up
Right
higher,
there.
up higher, yeah.
Okay, I can only reach so far, just a shorty.
Do you know where UCN is? It's close.
And so these.
So again, to provide a history on this, when they purchased those lots, they purchased it all as a whole. They had to come to us with a big plan for subdivision and development on it. They didn't follow through with their end of it, so it ended up going into tax sale. That agreement for the development was registered on all of the properties as a caveat. So now we have people that are probably wanting to go in there and do some residential development, but that caveat is still on the properties. I think the
Internal
only-
lots, there's no value to.
What's that?
Like, if you look at those internal lots.
Correct.
From a town perspective, we should look at keeping those. Because if you go back to the drainage report that the town has,
Yep.
there was a reason why that subdivision was never developed.
Mhm.
Because that really needs to be retained. So there's no value to it, it's better value to the community as recreation space and sell the outside lots.
yeah,
Okay? Who's gonna go in there and build a retaining wall?
I believe at one time they were looked at as soccer pitches and.
There was a plan that,
Yeah.
I think, Mr. Fulton did.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's really, we're gonna look at it. We just ask for trouble if we sell one to someone in the middle. 'Cause they're never gonna be able to afford to develop.
It's true. And you can't, we'll never afford to develop the access road to it.
And it goes back to that report from 20, 15 years ago, the town did.
Can I suggest we send this back to administration for further study?
Well, it's basically.
Instead of us making, because we're changing decisions here.
To me, the only question I have with this, and that's great, we can look at that definitely in the like in the future, all I'm wanting is caveat. That's all I'm asking of you guys, to withdraw the caveat on it.
I'm fine with removing the caveat on the properties, but I'm worried about the overall plan, but that's.
See, and that's what we can definitely.
Yeah, we
bring
can,
back.
I think that's what we should be bringing back.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the
Alright.
caveat,
Bring back
but we
the plan.
should look at some of the other issues with
But
those
I
properties,
like
especially
leaving
the middle
in
ones.
The part about they're responsible for their own access road.
Yep.
Every lot, sorry. I'm quit talking.
That's okay. Okay, 4.4, the Municipal Bylaw Enforcement Act.
Jen spent a lot of time on this one. The Bylaw Enforcement Act came into force on August 8th. So basically what's gonna happen is they are no longer going to be taking our parking tickets to courts. The court system right now has been doing it on our behalf, and now it's gonna have to go pretty much in front of like a different adjudicator. So it's gonna have to cost us a few bucks here. Granted, there is no, all we're gonna get back out of this is $25, and what there is gonna be, and Jen, jump in anytime, you're gonna appoint someone to basically listen to our parking tickets, and it's gonna be at our expense. And all it is costing the applicant $25, that's all we're gonna get back out of it. But at the same time, there's no point in having these bylaws if we're not gonna be enforcing them. To me, the whole idea of the bylaw is to have corrective measures rather than making money off of them. So I guess what I'm asking is, I think we do need to move forward with this, even though it's gonna cost us some money. Either that, or there's really no point in us doing anything with parking tickets.
Will it really cost us money though if we are in fact receiving revenues from the fees and fines?
If you're found guilty, yeah. I think
Not just
it'll-
from that particular case, like, so this is in the case that somebody disputes a ticket. But in the case that somebody's paying a ticket, I'm asking if the revenues from tickets that are paid will offset the costs associated with these disputed tickets, or?
It may, but then it all depends what cost you're offsetting, because you're still gonna be paying for the bylaw person to be going around and putting those tickets, right?
It's just maybe a consideration. We're looking at not this year's budget, but next year's budget. We've got some historical numbers on what these costs look like, that maybe we'll be looking at what the parking ticket amounts are in relationship to what the costs of the disputed tickets are, along with the other costs of the bylaw enforcement officer or whatever.
We have quite a few people that are paying their tickets and quite a few people that don't right now. You're almost at 50-50. Granted, if we follow this process, we do have the right to get different information, like through Autopack or whatever. Right now, if you have a parking ticket, we don't know who it is, we really can't do a whole lot about it. We have no means of finding out who belongs to that license plate. So this gives us kind of deeper bones to work with.
Sure.
I'm good with moving forward with it. I don't like having bylaws that we can't enforce or that we can't.
And I think, and correct
Penalize
me,
people for
Jen,
not
if I'm wrong,
following.
but there is no saying that you have to hold a hearing every week or every 2 weeks. You can hold this off to like 2 months. Once every 2 months, you have a hearing, so you're paying for it all at one time.
And I think I remember when they had the meeting, the district meeting or whatever,
Yep.
when they were talking about this, when it was here last summer or whatever, that they were saying that even like, maybe looking at like, say like Flin Flon and Snow Lake or whatever, teaming up and
Yeah.
like, so that like your person is coming in and they're doing like almost like a tour, so like, you know, they're 2 hours in the morning in the pond, then they go to Snow Lake for an hour, and then they go to Flin Flon for 2 hours in the afternoon, so that you can cost share amongst the municipalities that way as well.
And I think, Jen, we went to this course, what, 4 or 5 years ago in Dauphin, and this is finally coming in now.
Yeah.
And I talked to the lawyers about it, well, Greg, because Greg, one lawyer that we deal with was part of making this. And he said they're also looking at possibly each community will have an adjudicator in their, whoever takes part in this bylaw, they might assign an adjudicator to each municipality. So then that would cut costs, it would be
Yeah.
travel or hotel and.
So we're bound, if we sign on to this, we're bound to the fees that are just charged to us by the province? Like, for the adjudicator? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So did we not, when we set out the 2-hour parking for Fisher Avenue, did we not say that if people were going to fight a ticket, that we would have a session here where they could plead their case?
I'm already doing that, I've been doing it for.
And that's
why would
the
this be
first
different?
process, no, the screening
See, when they
officers-
go beyond me, like they start, what happens is they'll usually go and talk to the person that issued the ticket.
Yeah.
If they can't resolve it there, then they have the opportunity to come to me as the screening officer. If I still don't agree with it and I go against them, then they can go to the courts right now. What they're saying is the courts are not gonna be spending time on doing this anymore, they're gonna just appoint an adjudicator to us. Whereas before, whoever was, say if Brian had a parking ticket, he would pay the courts the money and it would basically only cost my time to go there. Whereas now, it's gonna cost almost like have a judge, like, or the adjudicator, it'll cost us to get them in.
Because what I hear tonight is, if I'm citizen A and I pay my parking bill, and then there's citizen B across the street, he doesn't pay his parking bill, why would I pay mine anymore?
That's the challenges we're all having.
Which is why I think we need to
We need
move forward
to
with this and
keep it
enforce
We either
it
do it or we don't.
consistently, yes.
So we're gonna move forward?
Yes.
Okay. Moving forward. All right, 4.5.
So we will require a resolution for pay period 25 and 26, in the amount of $227,448.55. Town of Quad general checks in the amount of $275,789.30, and electronic funds transfer in the amount of $207,826.42. If you look through the check listing, you're gonna see there's some chemical, there's also school payments, which amounted to over $100,000 also. Propane, it's a time of year, our propane bills are quite a bit more, and those are just some of the larger ones that I pointed out.
Even more this month.
Yeah.
Okay, any discussion on that? Okay, resolution, move that forward. 5.1, letter of understanding with arena worker.
During the winter season, we changed the hours of operation pretty much for the guys in their shift scheduling for the gentlemen that work at the arena. Due to the scheduling, we're asking, and to meet in excess of 8 hours a day, we schedule them a little differently. We do not have a collective agreement right now, so we're asking for a letter of understanding to move forward with this. In the past, we couldn't do the scheduling as we were understaffed, now we can actually do it. So this would be a request to have a resolution to sign the letter of understanding. Both the union and you were probably part of it, Benjamin?
Yes.
And administration have worked on this together.
Okay, move forward on that, everyone? Okay with that?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, move to going term.
That's fast.
I see.
Councilor Morrissey, you're gonna-
Oh, be it resolved that we now do move into the in-camera portion of the meeting with Mayor Sutton here to discuss matters requiring our attention. Is that my last time saying it?
No, you never know.